Good afternoon, happy Black History Month, and welcome back to Muralist Spotlight. I'm your host, Naja Springer. Today, we're going to be discussing Yannick Lowery's extensive mural restoration project he assisted visual artist David McShane with back in 2020, located at the Wilson Park Public Houses. This project was a set of 7 murals consisting of 1 mural on each building. And these are some truly breathtaking murals. And we're also going to be talking to Yannick about his Black Paradise project. Yannick, thank you so much for joining us today. It's really great seeing you again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I mean, this is exciting. I always like these spotlights. They, add a lot of insight. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So we're just going to start off on the first question, and that is, would you be able to tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in art?
Sure. Again, my name is Yannick. My pronouns are he, him, and I actually just come from a family of artists. Both of my parents, my grandparents, aunts, cousins, everybody is kind of involved in it. So it's been sort of a family business for me. But ironically, growing up, I kind of wanted to get away from that. I think that's how it usually goes. But within the last few years, I've really started to, make it my primary focus. And it's been exciting. I'm glad to be doing what I've been involved with. And I'm looking forward to keeping it going because I feel like I'm kind of late, But yeah, I primarily work in collage, but I also do a lot of sculpture and installation work. So it's expanding as we speak.
Yeah, I hear, and I just want to say, a mentor of mine always tells me, you're never late with something. It starts when it needs to start, and I've seen your work, and it's so beautiful and it's awesome. So I think that you were meant to start, at your own time. But thank you so much for answering that. And then my next question is, could you talk to us about the process that you went to restoring these murals?
Yeah, well, it kind of happened, just in a strange way. It was during 2020, I just received this fellowship from Mural Arts, and I was interested in, of course, learning how to create murals. There was a mural training program that was down because of the pandemic. This was like the height of it, when it was really scary, and I think we had just come out of quarantine. So I had actually just directly contacted Jane, and told her what I was interested in, and she put me in contact with David McShane. David was already in the process of doing the restoration at Wilson Park. So, he offered me a position as an assistant. And, that kind of gave me some hands-on training. It wasn't the mural training program, but it was almost better in my eyes, because David is, he's probably has the most murals in the city. I mean, he's been doing this for over 20 years. So I was just grateful to be, involved. So that was kind of how it started. And it was a wonderful experience. I took a lot from it. And yeah.
So I definitely have to ask you, what is the process of restoring a mural like? How do you start?
Yeah, I mean, so that mural I think was originally painted in 2005. So there's been several restorations since then. Probably a handful here and there just to touch up, but it's really just kind of brightening the colors and making sure that there's been no damage. Restoring the damage that is done, through the weather or just time. So it really was kind of looking at the colors, seeing what still worked, and, a lot of mixing, a lot of color theory, because David is very particular about what colors he uses. And it's really just about technique. It's really a standard way of just using the colors to, brighten and enhance the work if possible. While maintaining it, the integrity of it.
Could you just tell us a little bit more about the engagement process that you had with David?
Sure, yeah. So, during my discussions with Dave, the training with him, I was just picking his brain the whole time. And if anybody knows David, he'll definitely, he's so friendly and so open about everything. He gave me a lot of insight into the entire process. He mentioned that there was a residence council, which was actually like this group of all Black women, which it usually is, it seems like, or at least that's how it was where I grew up. The Black women are always like, the voices of these communities a lot of times. But he told me that the pre-existing mural was more like like a Benetton ad, and it was all these like vignettes of multiculturalism and people living in harmony, rainbows and holding hands and stuff like that, which is of course great. But the council, they voiced that they wanted something that actually reflected the community, which was the majority of Black people. So David proposed a concept that really incorporated a lifespan of its residents, and each building representing a different decade or a different season in the lives of these people. So from there, I think he said that he didn't actually want to use images of people in the community just so no one would feel like left out. Yeah. Instead, he used photos from like references from the Philadelphia Library, which is like the old school Google or whatever. But he used a photo reference. I thought this was kind of funny that one of the images is of a young woman that's pregnant. And he actually used his wife, who was pregnant at the time, as the reference for that photo, like the body, not the head.
Yeah, I got you.
And while he was installing that, while he was painting that, he said that some people walked by and they didn't like that. They felt like it was, representing like the stigma of teen pregnancy, and he just didn't think that it was a great illustration. So he brought that complaint to the council, and they said that they wanted to keep it, and that's what it is.
Okay.
I think they really wanted to just make sure that maternal figures were represented, especially in that community, which I completely agree with. And it is a beautiful addition to that entire piece. I can also say that like the visibility of that space, of that installation, it's along this sidewalk, so you can kind of walk it and see the entire length of it. And even from like the highway, when you're driving, you can see the entire length of it. So there's a lot of people that are giving instant feedback. Even during the restoration, people were just like, hey, like talking to us while we're painting, because that street is right there. I can only imagine what it was like when it was originally painted. People just probably standing there just like watching the whole time, because that's how it was during the restoration. But I mean, that community is so rich and so, so vast. I'm sure there was a lot of feedback while David was installing that. But yeah.
I want to know, how were you able to incorporate your own personal artistic style within the restoration process?
Honestly, I can't say I did. I mean, I'm a student when I need to be, and that was one of those opportunities where I was in complete student mode. And, for that, you have to kind of separate what you know from what you want to know. So, I was an empty cup for that experience, and I really just tried to get all that I could. But since then, I've learned so much, and I've been able to implement what I've learned into my own practice. But at that time, I was definitely in like, okay, what's next? You know what I mean? Yeah. It wasn't about, my experience or anything like that. I just wanted to soak up as much as possible.
Yeah, that's super cool to hear. I want to know, how long did it take for you all to restore these murals? I mean, there were 7 of them on different buildings, and I'm just curious.
Yeah, so honestly, it took longer than I was actually there for. I think he had a lot of assistants, that kind of came in and, took shifts. And I think at the time it was like winter came, so there was like a break, it was really weather permitting. I think it might have taken about 6 months. Because there's a lot of wall space, and it's in a location that requires a lot of time. But I was there for about maybe 3 months on and off. I've met a bunch of other artists there, like while working on that. That's another opportunity too that I didn't expect. He had other assistants that I still know now just from that experience, who also helped. And it's done now finally. But I think this is going to be something that is going to keep happening, because that mural isn't going anywhere, and it's always going to need, an update, a refresh.
Yeah, no, that's dope. And, we have so many murals in Philadelphia. We have, the largest public murals in the nation. And it's so uplifting and positive to hear that a mural is being restored, because sometimes a mural will just be painted over, and, hearing projects that are being restored or in the process of being restored is just like a really great thing to know. And so our next question is, what was your experience as a member of the inaugural Court Mural Arts Philadelphia 2020 Black Fellowship?
Yeah, so 2020, of course, everybody knows, was a rough year. And And the fellowship, couldn't escape that. It was a great initial idea, but I think that it still needed some room for expansion. So, my interest, of course, was just to make sure that that was being done, I guess. I was really kind of a voice to make sure that things were, on time and we were all getting what I thought we needed. I mean, speaking for myself, but I found that a lot of the other artists felt the same. So it was a great experience. I think that, seeing the people come after that, and the next cohorts that have, been selected since then has been a really interesting process. I think it's gotten better every year. But that first year, I won't lie, it was a little bit rough. But I can say that the best thing for me was really just meeting the other fellows. I think a lot of times artists are working in this vacuum and we don't have a lot of access to each other. So, that collaboration and that, literal fellowship was really, really powerful for me, especially not being from Philly. That was kind of my first introduction into like that community of artists. So that was always awesome.
Gotcha. Yeah. Another Philly transplant, huh? And I do want to ask you, do you still keep in contact with the people that she worked with in the fellowship?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, some of them, like we've done projects together. Like, I'm telling you, that was the main thing that I took away from that fellowship was just the contacts, because that led to so many other kind of connections that I still, rely on to this day. So if it wasn't for anything else, just meeting those people and being in contact with that network was really valuable.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that you had such a memorable experience being a part of that. And I do know that we have the fellowship again for 2022, and the application deadline is February 28th. So, and if you're interested, please do apply. Check out the link in our bios, because I'm sure so many of you, like Yannick, would benefit from it. So the next question is, how did you get involved with the Black Paradise Project? It's your creation, and I would love to know about it.
Yeah, so this project was, was a call initially from BBH. They had a call that was sent to me. It was forwarded actually by David McShane. David is like such an advocate for artists, and he always like sends calls that he thinks, specific artists might be interested in. So he sent it to me, and I was like, because I saw it originally, and I was just like, okay. And then he sent it to me, and he was like, maybe you should check this out. So I was like, okay, maybe I should apply. So I applied. And the whole call initially was about pairing an artist with a clinician to kind of examine the impact of racism on mental health. So after thinking about it a lot, I was partnered with a clinical psychologist. Her name is Kimberly Ashby, very talented. She actually has a practice that's focused on Black mental health, like specifically. So I thought it would be perfect. And we developed the Black Paradise Project. So it's really kind of a collaboration between Mural Arts. Well, Mural Arts' Porchlight program, and a big part of their whole, whole curriculum is about mental health awareness. So a big part of the project is, of course, changing the conversation around mental health, specifically within Black communities. Philadelphia has a city that's seen its share of racially motivated attacks on people of color. I don't even want to mention like the Move bombing in 1985, where the police officers actually dropped a bomb on a residential home, destroying a neighborhood. These kind of events have really had a traumatic effect on the residents here at Philadelphia. And this project aims to cope with those effects, because reframing racial trauma as something that requires treatment is our goal. So we've intended to, really create these spaces where people of color and Black people, specifically Black people, can engage in self-care through activities. So we posted a bunch of workshops, discussions. We've had a slew of activities for the last 6 months. And the whole concept is that these activities are really practices that are stimulating self-care, because self-care is actually a survival skill that's essential for managing a range of emotional and behavioral responses that result from racial trauma. So as of today, we partner with, let me think, outdoor Afro. We've done like an outdoor hiking activity with them. We've done like artist workshops, roller skating. We rented the rink at Blue Cross River Rink. We've had guided meditations, yoga classes, dance classes. We've even done something with Farmer John Philly. We did like a tea tasting tincture class. Next month, we had a rock climbing class. A rock climbing kind of instruction from Marion Bailey. We've done some really cool things, and we really have a lot planned. So it's all, with the goal of creating this community that people can rely on and really just have as a resource after the project is over. All of these experiences have been, absolutely free. And the goal at the end is that all of these events have been photographed by some really talented photographers, Black photographers. Just to mention a few: Akil Robertson, Andrea Walls of the Black Museum of Joy, Ken McFarlane. As an artist who works in collage, I'll be using those images to create a composition that will turn into a mural. The plan is to install in July. We're actively looking for walls right now. So if anybody has any suggestions or wants to submit a wall, that would be wonderful. The whole purpose of the mural is actually just to highlight the ways in which we find paradise through the lens of joy and mental health. I know that's a lot, but yeah, the project is extensive.
Yeah, the project is, as soon as I heard about it when I first started working here, I was like, this is amazing, through so many things that people experience throughout COVID. And, COVID's still here, but the beginning of COVID and, what was happening in Philadelphia, it's so beautiful to see this happening, and for people to have a safe space to just enjoy each other's company, to meet new people and to do other things. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the final product. This is going to be a dope mural. I haven't personally seen the collage mural before, so I'm really excited for that part. And I did want to ask you though, what does Black mental health mean to you?
Well, mental health, it's funny because I've learned so much during this project. I can speak just as a black guy, but as a professional, like I've just learned so much from my partner as far as some of the coping mechanisms that we, kind of use that are coping with issues that I really didn't have words to put a voice to, until this project. So, I think health in general has been something that has been re-understood, throughout these last few years, and mental health specifically is part of that. Of course, everyone is trying to stay healthy, with this pandemic and just trying to be self-aware. But I think it really starts with your thoughts, so making sure that you're in the right space to kind of move through this world, happily and effectively, I think is really crucial, especially for us, because we've seen a lot, even subconsciously, we've been affected by a lot of things that I think really need focus and treatment potentially. And when I say treatment, I don't mean necessarily even therapy, which is a great tool, but just, fellowship with one another, I think has been so healing and can be for so many people, just understanding that we're our greatest resource. And that's kind of the goal of this project. And almost, I think I learned that initially from the fellowship, understanding that like working with people, being amongst your people can heal you in a way that, isolating yourself doesn't. So mental health is crucial.
Yeah, thank you so much for answering. That was such a beautiful way to put it. And my next question to you is, what advice would you give to a young aspiring artist?
Yeah, that's a tough question because, I don't know who. Okay, I'll say this. I'm not a person who likes to take advice. Like I'm not like a hard-headed person. And I know that a lot of artists kind of feel similar in that way, especially about their work, because as an artist, you kind of have to be that way sometimes. Like you have to create your own kind of belief system, your own kind of laws sometimes, like your own religion in a way, at least about the work. So I think it needs that kind of focus, but you also have to maintain this type of flexibility to expand. And a lot of times that expansion comes through collaboration. Ironically, as that is, So yeah, stay flexible. Um, Also just, read more and write more and listen more. I think a lot of artists need to be very conscious of their surroundings, their settings, and what they're kind of taking in, because that's going to be shown in the work. And if you can manage that, if you can manage your surroundings, if you can manage your intake in a way that's conscious about what's going to be projected into your work, you have a little bit of control. I mean, there's so many things that are out of our control. I just try to maintain that balance because I know that it's going to show up somewhere else. So I try to really be conscious of that. Also, be an advocate for yourself. Like, nobody is gonna do it for you. Like, nobody's gonna speak up for you if you don't. There's been a lot of opportunities that were good, but I kind of made them better just because I was speaking up. And it's like there was nobody else like saying anything. It's like, I know my goals. I know where I'm trying to do. I know what I'm trying to say with my work. So you need to speak up and make sure that that's understood. And I think doing that, can at least point you in the right direction, or at least put you on the right frequency for people who are in that, going on that same path, or at least recognize that you want to go there. And, you'll start realizing that things start opening up for you. But that won't happen if you don't, if you don't advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I feel like it all revolves around self-love to a certain degree and trusting yourself. And I do want to plug in Mural Arts' website. Check out opportunities for artists. That's where you'll be able to find, so many different things that we have available currently. And I'm sure that you did that too. And so my next question for you is, where can we find your work? Is it in a gallery? Is it outside? Other places?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I'm a little bit of everywhere. I have a strange relationship with the gallery space, just because it's so, it can be a little bit intimidating for the average person. There's a stigma about gallery spaces that are just not for everybody. And I really want my work to be accessible. I mean, that's part of the reasons I love Philadelphia and I love public art, is because you get to actually live with the work. You get to actually, it's part of your community. It's part of your routine. It's not like this like special thing that you know what I mean? It's the accessibility is a big deal for me. So right now, of course, I'm working on this mural with the Black Paradise Project, but I share a lot of my work on Instagram for now, at Severe Paper, SEVERE.paper. And that's where like I kind of stimulate a lot of ideas for larger projects. Those are almost kind of like sketches for potential murals, in my mind. I don't know if they will be, but in my mind, that's how I create my work, thinking about it on a large scale, to be lived with, to be, embraced in everyday life, and not so much in a space where it's only for a certain population. Ironically, that population doesn't usually look like me also. So it's like, that's not my goal. But that being said, I was showing in a few galleries. I think a show just ended. I had something at Yale Divinity School, and a few months ago at Paradigm. I would say Paradigm. That's my paradigm. That's like my nickname for them. But yeah, I mean, I'm also, my primary focus right now is on this composition for this mural. So that's where my focus is right now. Stay tuned for that in July.
Definitely. And I was curious, where can we learn more about the Black Paradise Project?
Yes, blackparadiseproject.com. We also have an Instagram at Black Paradise Project, blackparadiseproject.com, and Black Paradise Project Instagram. Also, I have a website, severepaper.com. Yeah, I mean, you can Google it. I mean, that name, I got to say, I love that name. Just saying it, Black Paradise Project.
I do too.
If you Google it, I mean, it's the only one that pops up. I mean, we're doing a lot of things, so stay tuned. It's very exciting.
Definitely. So y'all heard it. Check Yannick out on Instagram, and also check the Black Paradise Project out on Instagram. Check out the website. Check out Yannick's website too. Give much love and support. I do want to end it with this. Yannick, thank you so much for agreeing to be this month's Muralist Spotlight. You did such a fantastic job, and your words of what young artists can do were really inspiring to me. And I am so excited to see the final mural, and I'm so excited to stay up to date with all the dope work that you'll be doing in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't wait to, have the mural up and be able to talk about it, so.
Yeah, we'll do that soon.
Cool.
All right, have a nice day, okay?
All right.